It's really nice to be here at OMG, OMG Gaming Conference. It's actually, we were just talking downstairs, usually in a crypto conference, the market is pretty much going down. When in the same time, today is a good day. Bitcoin is pumping to almost 27K. I don't know what is the current situation, but it's a good time to be talking about crypto and gaming. And I will have here Jordan, Nuno, Quinten, and Cagy, crypto legends, very good and strong communities in the space, and discuss about ICOs, protocols, gaming, and everything else that we've been seeing the last bull run, and what you can share about your communities and the opinions that you have on the gaming project. So I would start first. What do you think is the best gaming utility that blockchain has for our gaming protocol? Like, what is the best blockchain utility for our gaming protocol?
Check 1 2, check 1 2. We're good. I guess I'll take that. What's the utility that the...
What do you think is the best utility that a blockchain-based game can bring for the industry? Like, what is the main utility that blockchain can have for gaming?
Yeah, I think the low-hanging fruit is basically owning your assets, or owning your assets, being able to trade them freely. Definitely, I spent thousands of dollars in Fortnite, Call of Duty, and many games, and I think that's the low-hanging fruit right there. I mean, there's much more you can do with blockchain, but definitely that's a good start, right? I think every gamer understands this. A CSGO skin just sold for $160,000. So, they already do this, right? Blockchain just facilitates that transaction, and everybody wins. The buyer wins, the seller wins, and the game developers win too, because now they make a fee out of that. If I could trade my Call of Duty skins from 10 years ago, I would be really happy. And I'm sure the developers would be happy of 10 years of trading up to this point, right? That would be a lot of money being generated through fees. So, yeah, that's the main utility, I think.
I guess from my side, in terms of blockchain gaming and the way that the industry is progressing, it's interesting because the blockchain games of 2017 were absolutely shocking and just rubbish. They're basically just decentralized Ponzi schemes that number go up, number go down, system fails after 2 years. The more modern ones are interesting. Again, looking around here today, there is some interesting things. In terms of those blockchain games versus your traditional kind of A-class studio games, I don't think necessarily they're comparable, but it's a different market, it's a different demographic that's going for a blockchain game. It's somebody that doesn't only want to waste time, but they're okay to kind of sell time, exchange time for tokens or earn money within a system. I think we kind of first saw that with Axie Infinity. Axie was good, but Axie is a Ponzi scheme at the end of the day. So my opinion is the industry is maturing.
I just want to say something. I think it became a Ponzi, right? But I don't think they designed this as a Ponzi from the beginning. And they were experimenting for real. Back in 2020, I just want to make this clear. And, I was in Axie very early, and I dumped all my stuff later. But I think they were experimenting, and it was a good experiment. To see where we're at right now. Now we look back and we see what not to do. So I think it was a good thing, right?
It's good.
Axie
it's just not a very interesting game.
It sucks.
It's just a bit boring. It's just a fact. If anybody ever played Axie Infinity, it's just not particularly interesting, is it? It's a decentralized Ponzi, but it's fine. Ponzi schemes can be fun. There's nothing wrong with that. But to describe their tokenomics now, more coins come out than what go in, and the system tipped over the balance, and the coin went down pretty bad. It's since recovered a little bit now. Maybe it won't be a Ponzi. It's interesting, isn't it, actually? Because it's not necessarily a definable Ponzi. It's kind of like one. But it doesn't say it at the top of the screen, so it's not like a dead cert. It's just like 85% of the way to being one. But there is an element of you've got an opinion.
Wait. Hello. All right. I can pitch in also. I definitely agree with Cagy in terms of the main value just being giving some wealth back to the users in terms of the utility. Yeah, I think Ponzi's are an interesting topic in this space, and I think that something that we're now starting to see, and that definitely contributed to the situation, is that we saw a lot of Web3 developers creating games and not a lot of game developers creating Web3 games. And I think that that is what is going to help tip the scale and bringing in a lot more experience and a lot more knowledge of the gaming industry, rather than what we have now, which is great smart contract developers making awful games.
Yeah, I mean, but look at the games that there is here. They're all quite well put together. And just Axie is a 2017 product that's 5 years old now. These are the next generation. It'd be interesting to see what comes after that, or if they develop it. I don't know how familiar you all are with Decentraland, but one of the key issues with the Decentraland is it can never improve on its graphics, because as a network it will always be the size it will be, and by the way that it's coded, they just can't improve their system, so it will always be a bit rubbish. That's just a fact. I don't want to get too into dogging on these things, but at the same time, for me, the most successful games will be the ones that are fun to play. And if somebody can make a game that is fun to play and you can earn income from it, whether that be through gambling within the game or earning credits within the game, the difficult thing is, how do you stop the selling pressure from those credits crushing the value of the economy? You need buyers as well as sellers, and that's going to be the interest. Anyone got an opinion on that?
But Jordan, that was my next question. So you just spoiled it.
But I also think like we came a long way with Web3 gaming. But I think that it's also not like a good thing to focus on the tokens too much, because like Web2 gamers, they're not very interested in like in like the tokens and stuff. So to have like the real gamers, which are usually just like Web2 gamers, to get them to really play these games, that is, I think, a big challenge, and maybe even the biggest challenge, because you see like the Web3 community, they like invest in these projects, but they don't really use it. And then you have like the Web2 gamers, they maybe are going to use it, but they're not interested in the token. So I think like a hybrid solution between the two would be really nice. But I do agree also, like the last 5 years, like 5 years ago, the first few Web3 gaming projects were like really shitty, but it's getting way better. I played like a few of these games and they're really good. So we came a long way, but I think still a big challenge is to have adoption and to have for people playing these games, because I saw like a statistic, and like most of these Web3 games right now, they barely have any users. They put millions and millions in development and they have barely any users, because it's such a big thing to overcome to get these real gamers, which are Web2, like to get them on board.
Yeah, perfect. Again, just touching back on the topic of Ponzi schemes, Ponzi game schemes. We all know, we've been here in the space, maybe a few people are quite new, but we've been in the space for quite 5-6 years at least. We'll be seeing it all. And we know that crypto works pretty well with trends. So we have like the play to earn with Axie Infinity, and they figure out some terms, P to earn. So like, okay, play to earn, what else I can combine with play to or earn to, right? So then you saw a bunch of Ponzi scheme games coming and pumping and disappearing after. So yeah, we run in crypto very much upon a trend, right? So what trend do you think now is a gaming, or the current one, or the next trends on gaming industry, and how your community can contribute for this to happen to work instead of just die later?
I think like the first few trends we saw is, first of all, metaverses that we already talked about. But then right now I think that we need to see more platforms who really integrate the existing games to get these users on board, because again, I think the biggest challenge is to get these users to use these Web3 platforms, and I think Exeedme is doing a good job there. They have like their platform, they integrate games such as CSGO. I've been playing CSGO for the last 11 years or so, but you can also simply play it on the platform, and I think that is a really, really great solution to create that effect between Web2 and Web3 where you need to be.
I guess from my perspective, how can our communities impact the kind of future of all of these games. They could use them, but I think that's somewhat unlikely given that my community is just kind of an investment community. And it's an interesting split because in crypto, of course, you need to attract investors towards an altcoin to stop that value of the altcoin declining to zero so that it's no longer an attractive ecosystem for the gamers. But at the same time, investors in crypto are predatory, and they will do everything to make as much money out of something in a short period of time as possible. That means sending it to the moon and then dropping it back to the floor. They'll do that. It's just an unfortunate reality. And I think that the only way to overcome that is with mass adoption. And that's, for me, why I invested in Exeedme at the start. It's why I still invest in Exeedme. I think I'm probably the largest holder of Exeedme apart from the company. And
Send me some, bro. Come on.
Basically, yeah, from my perspective, it's going to be that investment communities are important to these ecosystems, but at the same time, stuff like Exeedme, having a platform for gamers to use that then pulls kind of users of these major games and then allows them to kind of use a cryptocurrency in with that. I like the idea of that. Will it go? I don't know. Guys, when is the coin price going to go up? I guess that's my question, but that's not really relevant to what we're meant to be discussing. Somebody take this away from me before I say something stupid.
Yeah, I actually tend to agree with François, and I think he brought up a good point. Where advertising and just promoting games focus too much on Web3 users, and definitely if we want to hit mass adoption, we need to think like a Web2 gamer. And in that sense, Exeedme is making an amazing job, but I think it's a lot about the structure of the project itself, not necessarily the tokenomics, but the reward systems that are put into them. And I actually discussed with François earlier an interesting example, which is Blancos, and their reward system is based around a format which is already familiar to everyone in Web2, which is season passes. So you buy a season pass, you have the free tier, you have the ability to collect NFTs there, but if you invest, you'll get a bit more out of it. And I think that just for a Web2 gamer, that makes sense, and it doesn't necessarily drag him into the whole Web3 ecosystem, the issues that he has to deal with managing his wallets. And I think that that's definitely where the focus needs to be right now if we are legitimately working to mass adoption.
Yeah, I actually want to add to that. Blancos does have a really good model, and I think we have games like Cryptia actually. You earn your skins, you earn your weapons, you earn your armor, and they're not Web3 yet, but you can mint them out and put them on the market. You can put them on OpenSea, but you don't need to mint them out. If you're just a Web2 gamer, you can go play the MMORPG right now. You'll never know it has it. But you might see in the chat somebody being like, oh, I just sold this for this amount. And they're like, okay, how do I sell my stuff that I earned killing monsters, right? So I think that is the way to actually have an open economy in a game. It has to arrive from the gamer, right? It has to come from the bottom up. It cannot be top-down VC, dump assets on people. It can't be like this. It has to be from the gamer. If the gamer wants to sell his skins to somebody that wants to buy, then that's a real economy, right? That's when a real economy really sparks. And then the developers make money on the transaction fees and maybe on a minting out fee, right? To take it from Web 2 to Web 3 and put it on OpenSea, maybe they can make some money there on the fees. Obviously, it has to be at a big scale for them to really make money. Maybe a subscription model could work where you can mint out certain amounts of NFTs every single month. If you have the subscription. So maybe something like that. We'll see.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, and I believe that the biggest problem that we still have in the industry is we're too much focused in Web3, we're too much focused on blockchain and how to really onboard and make it easy, make it simpler, right? For the regular user, for the 8 years old, or for your grandpa to come and enjoy and to have a wallet. So I think projects like, not doing any promo, but like Matchain.io, which I am the CSO, by the way, we are fixing this issue. So we are fully interoperable with any chain, and we are very welcome. And actually, one of our top things are gaming protocols. We bridge any Web2 protocol into Web3. Just as example, we gave 3 months ago a Web2 game with a lot of users already existing, and doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be a fancy chair game, a fancy computer. It's just your regular game that you play while in the metro, right? Or commuting from your job to home, right? We bridge those games into Web3. You don't need to have a token for the game. You can just have an in-asset because you know what? Maybe you're on the top 3 on the leaderboard of the game and you're just a regular dude, but you're good at that shit, right? So we bridge those games, and in 2 months, those users was just updating the app because it was the new version. They suddenly have the wallet of that chain that we gave the game, and they have in 2 months 300,000 wallets verified by our DID system and 350,000 transactions. And if you go to their x-axis scan that I will not say right now, you will see that this project is still the #1 in holders with close to 600,000 holders. And this is a simple Web2 game that everyone play, those ad games. So these are the normal users. You don't have to be a pro gamer. I'm not a gamer, but you see the opportunity, and when you bring those gamers into the platform, they will meet the real Web3 games. They will meet your staking platform. They will know that, hey, I made some tokens, some coins here. I can trade to Euro, I can trade to any stable coin, and I can maybe stake it, right? Why not? So it's a platform that you can have everyone without carrying shit if you are from Solana, Polygon, because when you use your app on the Apple Store, you don't know if it's Java, Python, what language you are. You just really want to enjoy that application. That's what we're doing, and I believe, again, and I'm not biased, but I'm biased, but I believe
Sponsor my channel, bro.
Huh?
Sponsor my channel.
Absolutely, you know, but this is the infrastructure, and I think this is a good way to onboard the next million, billion people into the space without focus too much, like if Quinten was saying, Web3 professionals and etc.
No.
Yeah, I think it's all about like the entry barrier. That's very important.
Being
I think
frictionless.
it's not even only for Web3 gaming, but it's for everything in Web3. Oh, be careful, bro. But so yeah, I think that's for everything in the Web3 space that, like you said, people should not even realize that they're using blockchain technology. They should like be easily onboarded on a certain platform and just use it and don't like drop out in the process of like registering or making a wallet and connecting your MetaMask. I mean, most of even the crypto investors, they don't know how to work with MetaMask. I mean, there are 500 million crypto users, only 50 million MetaMask users, so it's only 10% know how to work with MetaMask. So if you use that to onboard in your Web3 game or a Web3 project in general, that is simply not how you're going to onboard like the mass. So you should actually have like a very low entry barrier, and then you can onboard like the users. And I think that's the way to go.
I'm going to say from my side, I think the successful way to create a game that can have, essentially a Web3 game is basically just a game with a token. The best way to do that is just make a good game and then just have your in-game currency as a token. It's not that difficult. The difficulty is making a good game and then getting users. And in the finance space, your average cost of user acquisition for an exchange is about $100. I have no idea what it costs for a game, but I'd imagine, again, if it's $100, you need to it's very expensive to make these things successful. And they grow so slow. And also, you need to generate volume on the coin. Why don't people just integrate Bitcoin? It's one of the things that I've always wondered. If you're making a Web3 game, just integrate Bitcoin as your coin within the system. It would work much better. And then you could use Lightning Network payments inside the game, and it would be free and transaction freeless. And then you would not need MetaMask or any of the things, because you could set it up node to node within the game, and then it would be a simple portal through. I think that that's not being done, because also tokens can be used to raise funds for what we call projects in crypto. And they make a very good vehicle for raising funds for companies. And the real question is a token required in many cases? I think that in gaming, the answer in a lot of cases is it required? No, but is it an additional benefit to a game? No, if the token's price is going to fluctuate, but also if you're not treating it like an investment asset, it doesn't matter what the value of it is, because you're using it within the game anyway. I think it's just a really interesting, I don't know, is Web2 gaming better? It sounds like I'm explaining that it probably is, but I don't know. I play Web2 games, so.
I think there we kind of go back to what I had mentioned earlier, and I think that in terms of balancing economies, that traditional web or traditional Web2 gaming creators are a lot more familiar with making that work. And it doesn't necessarily need to revolve around a token. You just need to have strong economics within the project. And that's just something that we don't often see. And it's usually an afterthought, and it's something that needs to be repaired or addressed after it is released. So
it's probably important to point out, we're having this discussion after an 18-month bear market. So I guess all of our opinions perhaps on tokens and the way that tokens operate, they're probably slightly skewed by the fact that I mean, in my portfolio, down, 97% on average in your average gaming coin from where it's peaked, which is just a reality of where we're at. But a lot of these things are starting to come back. And which ones are going to be the ones that gain users? And then you've got the speculation train that comes on, and then you've got the money that gets made by, I mean, a game can just gain, like, say, 5,000 users, and bam, everyone thinks that everyone else is talking about it, and before you know, maybe only 5,000 people are using the game, but 50,000 people are talking about it, and then bam, the token price goes up 20x. That's going to be a very interesting period of time when that kicks in, and then that will likely generate more users for the game. And then, I don't know,
I think that narrative ends up only being appealing to Web3 users. And that's like, you're just not going to hit critical mass if you focus on the token and the tokenomics of the project.
I agree. And I think that's why it's been a kind of a failure so far in Web3 gaming. Why is it not taking off? Everybody is so focused on their economy, but then they lose track of the fun part. It's meant to be fun. Somebody just develops something that's fun, people will use it, and yeah, there's no FIFA in this. Like, why don't Web2 games use crypto? There's a reason.
What problem are you really solving, or what fun are you really bringing? Because even though myself, I'm a venture capital founder as well before I run the chain, I invested in around 150 projects, close to 200 as an angel investor as well. Many projects, we are in the same cap table here. We saw 85% of them all go to close to zero. And the main reason mostly is because they don't have a product. They always speculating, and some of them, they have 2 tokens, not just one. So you have the DAO token, so you can vote and decide on the future of the game.
We never voted, bro. Like, I have like a bunch of DAO tokens. Yo,
yeah,
any game with a DAO, what's up, bro? Where are the votes, man?
Yeah, so like what I would advise personally on this side.
But we got good games here, like that one right there. Hovershock is actually insane. I played it earlier, and it's super
But that's
good,
my point exactly. I see a game.
They take time, though.
So I would say, like, you go to the market, you raise as minimum as possible, prove your concept, test, run, make mistakes, create a community. You're going to evangelize your community about your game, show the product, and then you can come strong to the market again, bring your token live, but first bring the product. Just like a completely, not a game, but it was a product that was very known for everyone, thanks to the stepping narrative, but you have the sweat coin. It was massive. They didn't have a crypto or blockchain side before, but it was very successful. They proved their point, and then they raised 13 million, which is not much for a project that they size, and they did amazing well on the bear market, right? Because was the already existent product that people were using with real downloads. So I would say raise as minimum as possible, bring a product, try it, make it fun, create a goal, fix a